All right, so for this video, I'm doing something a little bit different where I'm recording this voiceover before doing the drawing for the video. So I don't know what you're going to be seeing in the background right now, but I hope you enjoy it. But anyways, this video is on art style and why it's so hard to find your art style and how to find it. And, hopefully this helps. This took me a while to figure out what I wanted to say. I hope there's some good nuggets of wisdom in here, hopefully, that help you out. The first thing is buy a sketchbook and sketch a lot. I know that sounds like no crap, right? But it probably is the most important thing you can do. If you don't listen to anything else in this video, just draw a lot. Eventually you'll find your style. It'll come to you. It'll be a long journey. There's nothing you can really do to speed it up, as we'll get into in this video. At least I don't think, but just draw a lot and eventually you'll get there. It might take a few years, might take a week, but you will get there eventually if you just keep plugging away and don't really focus on actually doing it, which gets me into the rest of the video. So you're probably making it harder than it needs to be, especially when you're young. The old adage of just be yourself is kind of the key to finding your art style. Not really caring about what other people are doing, not really caring what other people think about you. And as an artist, you're kind of always between those two realms, right? You kind of do care what other people think because, the whole, not really the whole point, depending on the kind of artist you are, but for most artists, the point of making art is to share it with someone. So, you are thinking about the audience, so to speak, especially when you're doing something like making comics or, making art for video games. People are going to see your art, whether you want them to or not in that situation. So it's hard for us to naturally not care, but, that's kind of a big part of it. So if you can't really just be yourself, and obviously no one can be just themselves 100% of the time, but that is essentially the key to unlocking it is just really finding who you are to you and being comfortable with that and just doing your thing, being yourself. For example, I really tried to paint for a long time, and while I can paint, I'll put a few images up on screen of my paintings that I've done. I'm definitely not as proficient at it as inking, and I naturally fall into inking and a line art style, better. So that's kind of what I went with. My style kind of bloomed out of that, right? And the next tip is kind of a bit more of a warning, which is beware of social media, or at least self-comparison, which kind of, I guess, ties back into the last thing of, being yourself, especially as a new artist. You need to find your way first. I think one of the biggest hindrances I put on my art learning journey is going on Instagram and making an art account. If you want to do that, obviously go for it. Most people are going to do that in 2024, but just be aware of the risks. Really guard yourself from self-comparison. It's obviously okay to look at other people's art, especially for inspiration, that kind of a thing, or just appreciation. But don't let it kind of bog you down and hold you back, because everybody's journey is different. You're never going to draw like someone else. You can try and copy their style, but it's never going to be a one-to-one replica because you're not them. So just do your thing. Don't worry about other people and draw. And art is not only a journey of technical skill, it's also an internal journey. So life experience dictates a big part of art style. That's why you'll see, people who have been painting for a long time and then maybe they lose a family member or they lose a spouse or something awful happens in their life, and then their style completely changes. Your art style can go through drastic shifts over the years. Oftentimes in the beginning you think, yay, I finally found my art style, only to have it change a month later because you change, right? And you're always going to be constantly changing. Everybody is. You can't really stop that, right? That's just how people are, how humans are. From the morning to the night, you're a different person almost in most cases. So really, I think when I say life experience dictates a big part of art style, it's more it accents it, right? Your art style is a large part, your technical skill, but the other half of it, I would say, is just how you think about the world. And so that might dictate the speed that you draw a line. It might dictate how scratchy you are with your sketch, that kind of stuff, little nuanced things that you really can't control. It's just kind of how it is. So, if you really can't find your style, it could just be, maybe you're not ready for it yet. And we'll get into that also in a couple of the other things I have to say. But yeah, so and I say that as well, you can obviously work towards finding your art style. You don't want to just be sitting around oh, I guess I gotta wait till my art style comes, kind of a thing. You need to essentially be drawing a lot of bad drawings, thousands of bad drawings before you finally hit the one, right? The one that changes everything. Because, while you're doing all those sketches, you do have an art style, right? It's how you're drawing right now, right? You might just not like it. You might not be ready to settle down on it just yet, and that's okay. But, you know, don't be thinking about it as something that needs to be attained, something that is, you know, even like yours to own, right? It's something that's almost like an aspect of your personality. That's kind of how I like to think about art style. So, you know, with that, it's normal to copy other people's styles as well when learning. Like for a long time, I copied freaking Mike Mignola for the longest time. I was like, I love his style. I love, you know, how much black he uses, how much negative space and, you know, minimalistic color, all those kinds of things. But obviously I am not Mike Mignola, and, you know, you're not either. And, you know, I'm not Carl Kapinski or, you know, any of these other amazing artists that are also, you know, I'm 29, they're like in their 40s and 50s or older, you know, so it's dumb to compare yourself to people that are like way beyond you artistically and way beyond you on their journey. Like they're not even in the same realm as you in regards to like the artistic problems they're probably thinking about or dealing with. But people you are hardcore copying or deriving inspiration from to learn right now will eventually coalesce into your art style. A great thing you can do to kind of help, I guess, expedite the process is lay out your top 5 to 10 artistic inspirations, you know, whether that's me or other people, and kind of take, you know, their art. I did this on Pinterest, and kind of make a Pinterest board of all their work and kind of find the commonalities in all your artistic inspirations, and it will kind of set you on the path to finding your art style. And when I did that, it made me realize a really big thing I was missing at the time in my work was texture. For a long time, my art was really flat and like, you know, really just like line color, not a lot going on. But I realized like all the artists I like and all the work I like has a lot of texture in it. So that's when I made the switch to traditional, because traditional is like the world of texture. And then I also realized, you know, most of the artists I like are also highly, you know, for not all of them, but a lot of them are traditional artists. At the very least, like painting traditionally or inking traditionally. And don't be afraid to kind of go out of your medium on this. You know, you might appreciate a painter, and you can obviously, like, you can bring painting techniques into inking, and vice versa, inking techniques into painting. And, you know, also kind of to start to close out here, it's okay to have multiple art styles as long as they all feel like you. So like I have a painting style, and, you know, it's definitely less refined than my inking style, but as long as you are you like being true to yourself, you know, your art style is going to look like you, and that's the important thing, right? That it looks like you and not someone else, and that it's unique. And kind of to close off here, like I said, the more you try to figure this thing out, the more you push, the less far you'll get. And I know that's kind of counterproductive, right? That sounds like, you know, how the heck am I supposed to do this? Art is not the same as exercise or sports. I grew up in a sports background, and I treated art that way for a long time, and I still do occasionally. You know, like I played soccer in high school, all that kind of stuff. But art is not that way, right? You can train the technical skill the same way, right? You know, practice, set up, you know, little practices, sessions, organize your artistic learning in a way where, you know, you have almost like routines you go through, right, to learn certain things. You know, you can organize the technical side almost like you do learning sports, but the other side of it, where, you know, how those techniques connect into your muscle memory, into your brain, and how you know, breathe them out into the world. That's kind of something that happens to you. You know, art and your style is something that happens to you. You can certainly work for it, like I said, and seek it out. But, you know, when your style is ready for you, and when you're ready for it, you'll find it, and not before, and not after. I hope this video helped. I definitely want to delve into this topic more in the future. This was kind of, I guess, where I'm at right now thinking about it. It's definitely like I'm probably looking into it way too much, or like thinking about it way too hard. But I think it's interesting, right? It kind of is something that, you know, art style is kind of something that just happens eventually once you just get good enough at the fundamentals and kind of get comfortable with yourself and stop caring and just start doing your thing. Like, it'll happen. And, you know, sometimes you'll think you're doing that when you're not, but, you know, everybody's different. Everybody takes their time. Hope you liked this video. If you did, make sure you subscribe and all that good stuff. And let me know what you think about art style.